What is going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 45. I am your host, Marcus, and in this episode, we're talking about you are not your struggles. Now, over the past couple of weeks, I have seen some people really start to struggle with a lot of different things, a lot of different comments I get on my channel, my YouTube channel, and we easily identify as those things that are going on in our lives, those things that are currently holding us back. And a lot of times we feel like that is our identity, whatever that thing is, whatever that situation is that we are living in, because essentially that is your everyday life. And understanding that you are not this particular struggle is something that is extremely hard, because it's easy to say, well, I am this current situation and this is why these things aren't working for me right now. And yes, struggles, they come in and out of our lives, some bigger than others. What we have to understand is a lot of different things in life are, they come in seasons. And I've talked about this before. Your life will have better moments in it than others. There was a point in my life where I dealt with a lot of struggle at one point, and I could identify it as that struggle. And people, my peers, my friends, my family, they would agree, yes, you're going through a rough time, and they would have allowed me to live in that moment. But at what point in your life do you say, okay, I'm no longer this this event that occurred in my life? When do you move on from that? Because struggles will always be there. And even for myself, reflecting on my struggles lately, a lot of your struggles are internal. A lot of your struggles, you second guess a lot of different things you do. And for myself, I second guess a lot of different things I do, a lot of different choices I make, right? Like I try to make sure that everything that I do is aligned with those things that I want in life. But sometimes you make hard choices and then you struggle with those choices. Is this really something I need to be doing? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And so you do have to have a confidence in yourself. You do have to understanding yourself. You do have to just simply trust yourself. Yes, struggles will come and go, but that is not you. Is when we identify ourselves as those particular events. It could be a divorce, it could be a failed test, it could be whatever it is. Those struggles are not who we are. Because if we keep those struggles with us, then we're starting to live in a past moment that doesn't exist anymore. And when I got this concept, this idea that you are continuously writing your life, you can change anything you want in your life by the decisions you make right now. I could stop doing a podcast and do something completely different and go 100% in the stock market stuff, or I could completely stop the stock market stuff and go 100% into programming, or 100% into crypto, or maybe I can just pack my bags and leave. Things aren't as bad as they seem mentally. Yes, if you do something specific, say I pack my bags and I leave, right? There may be responsibilities that I have that people would disagree with. But what is it to you? And understanding that, the struggles in your life, they shouldn't dictate other things in your life. When you realize that it's just a temporary situation, when you realize that you can change anything at any moment, that's where the real power comes in. That's where you stop caring about what other people think. Because you watch other people become the struggle and they live their whole lives that way. That struggle has affected every choice that they've made for the rest of their life. Or you can have a very short term memory and say, hey, yes, it happened. I'm human. This is the human experience, right? It's to essentially test things out. Is it going to work? Right? Trial and error is huge. If you look at everything, every choice that you make is just a trial and error. Nobody knows 110%. Nobody lives that way. There are some things that, we lack in life, and we see other people that are abundant in that part of life. And we think that that's what it is. That's the key. But we're all figuring it out. There are steps you can take to get better, the things you can do to get better, that improve your life. But what may help for me, what may work for me, may not work for you, and vice versa. But it is all a trial and error basis. You try it, don't like it, move on. Struggles are the same, right? Struggles in your life will come on perhaps by yourself, or life will inflict struggle on you. Yes, we all come from different walks of life. Yes, we all have different shades of struggle in our lives at different points in our life. Some of us will have more struggle than others in other points of our lives. It is your struggle, yes, but never identify as that struggle. Any struggle should be something to encourage you to move forward, to encourage you to understand that you're moving in this direction for a reason. Maybe it's a struggle to obtain maybe you are trying to go back to school and obtain a degree. Maybe it's the struggles you deal with them. But you do it, you overcome them, and you get it. It's just showing you're going in the right direction. Maybe you're struggling to try to get healthy. It's a struggle because you're trying to change a circuitry in your brain, in your habits, and how hard that is. But once you get it, you got it. If you can get through the struggle, nothing is ever easy. We like to be painted a picture that stuff is easy to get to. It is not easy. It is hard, and then you maintain it. And sometimes what used to be easy can start to become a struggle a little bit. Nothing is just 100%, I got it, and it's just running smooth sailing all the time. Yes, you can get stuff to points to where they're easily maintained, but you are not your struggle. And again, I've seen people do this to multiple times in my life. And it's a big reason why I created Discover Ignite, because I saw so many people struggle with things. And I tried to provide ways to help that, ways to look inside and see what you can change is one of the biggest ones. Because if you can change your internal mindset and change your thoughts and your ideas of yourself, that is where true change exists. When you start internally, and then you start going out and say, hey, you know what, maybe I should start a podcast. That's when I start talking about podcast stuff. And soon I'll start talking about other different things that can help you build something that's yours. Because I got this comment the other day about, I got divorced and I had a wife and kids, and I come home and the house was full of noise. And now I don't have that. I have nothing. I don't know who I am. And I can completely relate to that because I was there. I have been there. I know what happens. It's not easy. You're used to one thing and you get something completely different. And you don't even know who you are because you identified yourself as a relationship. Because maybe you were in that relationship for a long time. And so that's what you identify as. And to see anything that it's not is extremely hard. Because there's a lot of unseen. There's a lot of things you just don't know about. And that's hard for us to comprehend. And scary. Anything that's uncertain is scary. And I totally get that. And it's taken me a long time to go with, you know what? I'm going to just go with my gut here. And my gut's going to tell me where to go. And it may not make any sense at all, but eventually one day it will. But if I don't follow my guts, I'm going to be in this position. I'm going to be in this struggle, and I'm just not going to be happy. So you get to that point, and then you realize that, hey, you know what? This is not who I am. What I've been living is not who I am, and that's not who I identify as. I don't identify as a struggle, or that struggle I was going through that I wasn't really paying attention to. And now I find myself here and I have nothing. You have a lot more than you think. It's just changing your perspective on what's going on. Yes, you should always give yourself time, especially if it's after a relationship, it's anything big. You need to give yourself some sort of window to recover. But then say at this point, okay, well, Now I need to move on. But how do you move on? You create something in your life that is positive. Because when we go through struggle, we look for easy ways out. We look for to drown ourselves in TV. We look for to eat foods that aren't healthy for us, right? We look for different things in our lives that aren't helping our situation, but they could get better a lot easier than we think. By just adapting something we can build and create for ourselves. And this is why I've been sharing about podcasting and again, other different things coming down the pipeline, because it's important to build something for yourself, to keep your mind busy on building something positive. It builds self-esteem, it builds character, it builds strength in yourself, and possibly even something you can generate that can create something that can get you out of the predicament that you're in. But to be able to do this, you have to know that you are not your struggles. And also realize, again, that struggles come in seasons. And this is why I mentioned this before, because a lot of times you'll overcome those bigger struggles. And then things will seem smooth and you'll find other different struggles. You have to realize, again, sometimes not nowhere near as bad, although our brain likes to make us think that they're 10 times worse than they are. So these smaller struggles that you're dealing with, you look back at it and you'll be like, why was I even, why did that even bother me? It wasn't even that bad compared to some of the other things I've been through. Because we forget, right? A lot of times we go through major struggles and we forget that moment in which, we tell ourselves it needs to change from here, or I don't know who I am. And then if you start building that positive thing, you realize that, I actually have something. I am something. I am worth something, right? I hold value. And I think that's one of the hardest things. If you come out of something that you're struggling with, it's a major life event, right? You do tend to forget a lot about what is going on in life. You don't want to look, a couple of days ahead, right? You're just trying to get through the day most of the time. And so struggles, yes, they build character. They help redefine and put things back into perspective on what should really matter. And this is why I talk about a lot of the different things I talk about, because you should be focusing on yourself. You should be building something for yourself. You should be building your body and mind and creating something for yourself to help build the confidence, to help build the self-esteem, to help challenge you to push forward in life, as opposed to identifying the struggle. Because when you identify the struggle, you're essentially riding your life on the e-brake and wondering why things don't get better, because it leaks into everything. Every turn that you take, every direction that you go, that e-brake is on, and it's just dragging the ship down. It's making things 10 times longer than they need to be. And it does take some inner reflecting and realizing, okay, I'm okay with what happened. I can only control myself. I change, everybody changes. Situations are always changing, seasons changes. Everything in life is temporary. Everything you deal with is temporary. Once you get that understanding of that, then you come at life with, okay, well, I'm going to enjoy the moments. And you know what to tolerate, what not to tolerate, what to eliminate, what to incorporate. And then when new struggle comes on, it's not as bad because you've dealt with bigger struggles. And yes, the little struggles can add on and it can seem like you're not getting anywhere. You're kind of just jogging in place most of the time. But things do get better. And so you build whatever it is. You're building your body, building your mind. Give yourself time in one particular thing, because like I said, you don't look to the next day, really. You're just trying to master your day. It essentially wipes everything out, right? Depending on how big the struggle gets, whatever that event was, you need to master one small piece of it. Am I going to master my mind right now for 6 months? Whatever it is, give yourself 6 months. 6 months, I'm going to master my mind. 6 months, I'm going to master my diet. 6 months, I'm going to master a particular skill. 6 months, I'm just going to hammer it down and start writing a book. 6 months, I'm going to hammer it down and create a website or start a YouTube channel or start a podcast. Whatever the case is, I'm going to focus on one positive thing and make sure it's done each and every day. And that's all you need to give yourself. Don't look past, don't look yesterday, don't look till tomorrow, just today. What do I got to get done today? What is my priority today? Because I am my own priority. I know seasons will change. I know things will get better. Things will get worse again. But I'm okay with that because I know how to deal with it. And I know I'm only in a small part of the cycle. And then you continue on and you move forward. And realize that struggle, it teaches us so many lessons. The struggles I've dealt with have given me major perspective in a lot of things. And it's kind of one of those things where, you get that one little piece of information that just essentially changes the whole playing field you've been on the whole time. Like you can't go back to the way you used to think. It's just not possible. Now you know. And so you don't look at things the same. And a lot of times when you make that step, a lot of people don't see it that way either, because a lot of people may be looking at things the way you used to look at things. But then things have changed for you for circumstances, but for the better. You always try to look at things, it's for the better, not the worst. The struggles, yes, they suck. They're not fun. There's a reason, right? I always say there's a reason behind everything. You just don't know until later on. It's a whole intuition and following your intuition, and why, honing this intuition, through doing the breathing and doing meditation and stuff. And I know a lot of people just don't like that stuff and don't understand that stuff, is because I don't think you've had the struggle to put you in that position to where that is all you have, but to concentrate on the moments. You're not thinking about what just happened or thinking about the future. But let me focus on the moment. Let me just focus on my breath. Yes, I'm still living. I'm still right here, still alive. What can I do now? What's going to make me happy now? What's going to drive me to want to wake up and be excited about tomorrow? What is going to get me to lose sense of time and self? That's what you start focusing on, following your curiosity, living a life that, as a kid, at some point in your life, you gave up because you tried things and they were hard. There were struggles. Life events happen and they dictate the directions of our lives. And a lot of times, some of those choices completely sway us to give us new obstacles that we didn't think we would have to deal with. We always think things are just so smooth sailing, but if they were so smooth sailing, would we really appreciate what we have? Struggles are there to show us that the small things really matter. That the time that you have really matters, that the people that are in your life, that are high quality people that really care about what you're doing. And vice versa, that you really care about what they're doing. You want to hear about their day. They want to hear about your day. That the things align with what you want. A lot of times people, they won't see it. And I've struggled with this many different times where I've made a change and I've seen the look on people's faces about, really, why are you going to do that? Why are you making that change? I think I've done it enough to where some people are just like, okay, I know you'll do it. It'll happen. Even in my mind, I'm like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And I'm going to make it happen. And if I got to hype myself up, I'll do it. That's one of the biggest things, is to be able to hype yourself up and be excited about going out and doing it. Like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm just okay going out not knowing. There's a reason why I was given this feeling that I should be going this way, so I'm going to do it. And it may not make sense to you, and it may not make sense to him or her, people in your life, but it doesn't need to. It's a feeling of knowing that, you know what? I don't have to be what just happened to me. I can go out and be whatever I want today. And if I want to change that tomorrow, I'll change it tomorrow. It's not that big of a deal. Why should we be so fixated on, well, this is the way it has to be, and if it's not that way, well, then you're wrong. Because it's not at all that way. It doesn't have to be either which way. But as long as it's your way, that's what matters. And as long as it's not your struggles. Because when you change directions, you realize that those struggles that you once had, you obtain new struggles in any endeavor you go that's different. The unbeaten path that you go down, you'll find new endeavors that you're like, well, wow, I got rid of one set of struggles and obtained a whole new other set of struggles. Is it worth it? Yeah. You know what? It's just being alive and knowing I'm alive. It's when you lose that sense of being alive. I just go through the task and just, I'm not feeling what I'm doing. And I know you the way you feel, and it doesn't make sense because I've struggled with that so many years on, am I really doing what I want to do? Yeah, I have fun moments, but is that what life is supposed to be like? Just fun moments? Yeah, I know you're not supposed to just go off and do willy-nilly, do whatever. Yeah, we make choices that give us responsibilities. Yes, understandable. But you shouldn't let that dictate. Like, there's always a way. There's a will, there's a way. Keep looking, keep pushing through, keep persevering. Change your normal thought process. Of all the processes that you've used before, obtain a new process. And that's one of the biggest things I've learned. A lot of my old ways of thinking, right? When some of those big struggles hit you, you start to think, you know what? The old way of thinking just didn't serve me anymore. It's a new way of thinking. People won't like that, and that's okay. And I know where they're at, and I know where I'm at. I have no disrespect for those people, no disrespect for me. People won't understand. You'll gain friends, you'll lose friends many times along the way. But you should have your own voice. You should know you have value. Just don't let those things hold you back anymore. Think outside the box. Read a book that you thought you would never enjoy. Maybe it's on the stock market. Maybe it's on something else. Maybe it's about becoming a vet, right? Or maybe it's about going and serving your country. Or maybe it's about whatever the case is. You had a dream. You let it go. It died. Somebody killed it. Maybe it was because of the struggles. But just don't let them take you. Don't let them take you down. Don't let struggles make you think that you can't change anything. And the more we talk about the struggles, the more we bring the struggles to the forefront, the more we become those struggles, as opposed to just letting it go and saying, you know what, it is what it is. Life's gonna throw some pretty hairy curves at me, but I have to understand that it is something that's going to happen. Because I'm okay with not swinging all the time. I'm okay with stepping back, trying to get some understanding of what's going on in the situation, make adjustments, and then get back ready for the next at bat. If I do strike out, but realize there's always another at bat. You don't have to swing just to swing. You can watch, you can observe what's going on. Get a feel for what's going on. Trust your instincts. This feels like the right pitch. This feels like the right setup. Not, oh man, I struck out and this is what I am, right? I'm going to continue to strike out every single time. It's just not happening for me. How could those people put their trust in me? I I'm not that person. No, you're not. You change. You're not that struggle. You're not that last at bat. You're right now. You can change the course of history with what you do right now. Yes, you struck out the last 3 innings, but the bases are loaded. 2 outs. You got a 3-2 pitch, and you hit it out of the park. People will forget everything. You will forget everything that ever happened to that point. But you got to be in the game. You have to realize where you're at. Your mindset has to be right. You have to think about it in that fashion. Because if you can think about it in that fashion, and you will think about it in that fashion, life becomes a lot easier. You're not a struggle. You realize that, hey, this is a struggle. I'll get through it. It's not fun. I'm not saying struggles will never be easy. They become easier. They're always different. They're always harder. There's always something a little bit different about them. Or else it wouldn't be a struggle. But they create us. They create a better person that we need to be for ourselves. For ourselves. Not for anybody else. And I think a lot of times we like to think it's for somebody else or something else, but ultimately it's for ourselves. We have to be our own, best friend. Is something I've always talked about, and hype yourself up. Because as soon as you get that belief in yourself, that hey, I got it. 2 steps back, maybe 3-4 steps forward. If I need to, I'm capable. I can see what I can do. Sometimes struggles, maybe you need to put yourself through some tough stuff to realize what you're capable of. I think a lot of times one of the bigger problems is we don't push our limits hard enough. Or maybe become lackadaisical, which is something I do at times, and I don't push myself as hard as I should be pushing myself. And I see it, and then I recognize it, and I try to make an adjustment. That's where you need to be. Adjusting. Making changes on the fly. You realize that you aren't your struggles. These struggles you deal with, they're changes you need. Changes that will make life so much better. I put things in so much better perspective for you. That you'll look back, you'll be thinking, why did I ever think that way?